Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi of Illinois. He is a member of both the House Oversight and Intelligence Committees. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. I know you can't get into all the details from these briefings, of course, but give us your overview here. Did the administration effectively make the case for war?
No, they did not. It was a deeply unsatisfactory hearing, and they did not answer basic questions that I believe the American people and Congress has with regard to why we're there, what's the duration of these operations, what's the end game. And as a consequence, we're left with the impression, at least I am, that we're entering yet another endless war, which my constituents and I believe the American people desperately want to avoid.
So, Congressman, on that very point, did the administration lay out any vision at all as to what they hope Iran will look like when the fighting stops, whenever that might be?
No, they did not. And I think that not only did they not do that, but, for instance, they said they wanted regime change, but now we're not seeing the regime change. Instead, we're seeing a more thuggish cast of characters potentially take over for Khamenei, whom nobody's mourning in his death. But at the same time, we're worried that a worse leadership is going to take over. And the other thing is, they talked about erasing or getting rid of the nuclear program, but even after they pronounced it dead last summer, after they claimed that they obliterated it, now we know that it's underway again, and they've suggested that bombing alone cannot get rid of it.
Congressman Sam Stein here. This morning, during his briefing, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth mentioned that we have taken out the people who have tried or who did try to assassinate President Donald Trump, the Iranians. That's now the second time that the attempted assassination of Donald Trump has been mentioned by this administration, perhaps as a motivating factor for these strikes, but I don't know. Did that issue come up in these hearings at all? And do you think that this is part of the motivation for why the president chose to authorize this campaign?
I'm not sure. I didn't hear about that at the briefings. I didn't hear it. But in any case, right now, I think what needs to motivate us are objectives beyond that. And we're not hearing about those either. In the meantime, the costs of this potential operation or this current operation are escalating. We've already lost 6 servicemen and women. On top of that, we have thousands of Americans stranded at airports throughout the Middle East who are also potentially targets themselves. So this is a very dangerous situation, not to mention the cost to our economy, too.
Congressman, this is an important question, I think. Did you hear anything about what now? Was there any discussion of the steps to stabilize Iran in a way that it is no longer a threat to Americans across the globe? They have the ability through very sophisticated terrorist networks to do one-off strikes against Americans, no matter where they are on the globe. Was there any discussion about that? Who is going to take over the leadership of Iran, and what impact America's presence will have in that regard?
The answer is no, no, and no. There's no discussion of those particular topics, and I think that the administration doesn't have answers. And I think one of the reasons why they don't want to come to Congress, or they didn't come to Congress as they should have under the War Powers Act, is because they didn't have answers to these questions. They knew that the American people would oppose what they have done so far. And I think that that's in part why I believe the War Powers Resolution that's going forward this week may be successful in drawing some Republicans, along with most Democrats, against these hostilities.
Democratic member of the House Intel Committee, Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi. Thank you, Congressman. We should note he's also a candidate for senator in the state of Illinois. Thank you again. We turn